Well, if it isn't Wednesday, how you guys doing? Welcome back to Sin City Crypto Live. My name is David. I'll be one of your co-hosts. And today, like every single day, we're coming at you live from our studio. So, big show today. ETH Shanghai upgrade or Chappella upgrade is going live in about 5-6 hours. 7 hours, 8 hours, 7.5, 8.5 hours. A few hours from now. We have Frankie Candles joining us at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We're going to look at some charts. We're going to talk about ETH. We got some metrics to show you. How much of it's being unlocked? Is it all going to get dumped on the market? Fear not. We're going to talk about it. Also, CPI numbers come out. Looks kind of favorable a little bit. And what are we going to expect from Jerome Powell and the Federal Reserve in the next May meeting? Will they hike interest rates? We'll talk about that. We also have news on Avalanche. What else do we have news on? Avalanche, MetaMask, and much, much more. But first, here's your other co-host, Robin.
Hola! It's your boy, Big Rob, back in the house. Welcome to Sin City Crypto. If it's your first time checking us out, hit the like button. Also, in case you didn't know, we do entertainment-focused cryptocurrency content where we take old, boring, and stale information and package it up in a fun and sexy way. Bitcoin's over 30,000. It was under 30,000 last night, and it's back.
Wow.
It's back again. I have a feeling we're going to trade here for quite some time. What do you think?
I don't know.
Between 30 and 32, somewhere in there.
It's a possibility.
Is it really? Wow, that's a great analysis there, buddy.
I forgot to mention on today's show, we also have a new segment we're starting. The Boomer segment. What do the Boomers say now? And we have video footage from Boomers Warren Buffett, David Ramsey. We also have this. You see this? This was just published from the SEC's Investor Advisory Committee. So the Honorable Gary the Gun Gensler. Just a couple things. So we'll get to this one last. But this is the people advising the SEC on what to do. And we believe that virtually all, if not all, crypto tokens are securities and that they, as well as the platforms and custodians, are subject to regulation under the federal securities law. You can read the rest of that later. And it says the SEC should continue to be aggressive in bringing enforcement actions against companies that are violating the federal securities laws in the crypto space, including issuers, custodians, and those acting as unregistered platforms. And then we have this doozy here. Nearly 44% of Americans who own and trade crypto are people of color. 41% are women, and more than 35% have household incomes under 60K. So the black investors who were burned by Bitcoin, they cite that article. They also cite an article, The Cryptic Nature of Black Consumer Cryptocurrency. So a lot of people caught on to this and said, hey, are they trying to say crypto is racist? I don't know. But we have this video from this lovely lady who talked about the importance of crypto in the minority communities. Let's hear what she had to say. It's pretty interesting.
Industry. And I intend to also highlight the tremendous loss of wealth accumulation opportunities for communities of color, especially the Black community, if investment and innovation opportunities in the crypto asset ecosystem are driven offshore. Accordingly, as Congress considers how best capital formation. I want to punctuate briefly my concerns that in this latest economic boom, systemically marginalized populations will continue to be left behind when, under the well-intentioned guise of investor and consumer protections, and as well as not so well-intentioned streams of fear, uncertainty, and doubt from legacy financial institutions and other parties with vested interest in seeing the crypto economy fail, that wealthy early adopters and legacy institutions protecting their high net worth clientele will again reap the upside risk and reward of early adoption, leaving another generation of systemically marginalized people behind. For example, legacy financial institutions have seized the early mover opportunity among their peers to innovate in delivering products and services in the digital future by leveraging blockchain technology or offering direct or indirect exposure. Despite public comments injecting misguided narratives about crypto assets, major banking and financial institutions like Deutsche Bank, Morgan Stanley, and even longtime Bitcoin skeptic JP Morgan have all recognized the value proposition of crypto and blockchain.
It's interesting, right? You have the advisory committee essentially saying, hey, this is harming communities, the minority communities, right? Because crypto went down 70% and it took wealth away from people. And then you have this lady talking about how if the opposite's happening, we're driving innovation overseas, and by making it harder for people in America to invest, it's actually harming those who make under 60K, those who are in the minority. What are your thoughts on what the advisory is saying and what this lady is saying? And the lady's name is Tanya Evans. Miss Tanya Evans.
Well, it's only been a short history, very short history, where the mainstream retail user, the average individual, has had access to even investment vehicles. So back in 2001, 2002, 2010, if you wanted to invest in stocks, if you wanted to participate in Wall Street, you had to pick up a phone and call a broker and then pay an exorbitant fee to buy and sell, trade, and custody your stocks that you wanted and your portfolio. And who didn't get to participate in those investments? Who was it? Think about it. It was the communities that were least funded, right? It was people that made the least amount of money. The people that probably needed to focus on their future the most, they were excluded from participating. And, you could sit here and say like, well, they had the opportunity, the same opportunities other people did, but did they? Was it made easily and readily available? Because as certain demographics climb up the chain of society's wealth and inequalities, as they go up the chain, they get a lot more offers and partnerships and opportunities. The banks come knocking and say, hey, we'll set up a portfolio, we'll get this going for you. But yet, if you are kind of trying to scrape by and make ends meet, and you get a $15 bank account fee, a savings account fee, a checking fee, a overdraft fee, and you don't even get offered these services.
Hold on. Do you know that I know it's been there for a while, but I had to transfer money out of my savings more than 6 times last month, and I was charged $20 for moving money from my savings account into my checking account.
I straight up closed my savings account. Wherever I was going to keep in my savings, I just keep it in my crypto.
$20.
And I have to be a little bit more responsible. I got to be a little bit more aware of, how much I have in my checkings, because I can't unplug from checking, unfortunately. I just, running a business, I don't have the time and the means to circumvent all of the banking operations. So if I need to pay my mortgage and all of this, I could get it done. I know there are ways around it. I just don't have the time to do it. So I do rely on my checking account. So for me, I do have to be diligent in having enough there and covering my needs, because I don't want to keep anything extra in there. I don't want to keep any extra money in my checking account other than a small little buffer if I have some auto draft stuff come out. And
you say Buffett?
Yeah, no Buffett. No. So, anyways, they're trying this investor protection stuff. It's such horse, man. It really is. It's so much BS to that. And all they're trying to do is trying to keep inclusivity to the people that make the most money and keep other individuals out. Perhaps their intention is not to keep down the black community. Maybe that's not like their exact motive. But what they're trying to do is they're trying to keep a certain income level people out. And if that income level people is predominantly made up of a minority, then that's who suffers. And it's been this story for the longest time. And that is why I am so passionate on crypto, man. And I've told the story many times before. I scraped by being a cook and a chef, and I made just enough money to get by. I got squeezed so hard by the banks just feeding me to death. And, if there was anybody that the banks probably shouldn't have been trying to squeeze extra profit out of, it was me. Because I couldn't even get by. I had kids, and I almost had my house foreclosed 2 times. And, some of it is, I'm not saying it's all the bank's fault, but they definitely did not assist in any way. If anything, they made it a little harder for me to get by. And I can relate to the stories of other people. And so I saw an opportunity to exit the system. I saw a remedy to the problems that we have now with the intermediaries just making gains off of other people. And that is here in crypto. And that's why I am doing this, is for that sole reason. And then I know we're getting a little off topic, but was it earlier this week, someone had asked us a question, and it was this question that just keeps coming up, man. It keeps coming back over and over again. And I understand why.
What's the question?
The question is, how do you guys plan on making money? What are you guys going to do as a business, your revenue stream? And I say this, man, I'm going to do everything I can to keep this damn channel afloat. And I'm doing this because I love the content. I love the space. I love the industry. I want to spread the word. I want to get this education out to as many people as possible, to help out however many people, whether it's 1 or 1,000. And I could honestly care less. I would like to survive and have a car and a house, but at the end of the day, my mission, my priority is to make this thing as successful and big and get the word out to as many people as possible. And that's it. I don't care if we make $1,000, $10,000, or $100,000 here. I really don't. What I care about is if I can reach 1,000, 10,000, or 100,000 people with my message. That's what I'm trying to grow. And I do realize I'm not trying to sit here and blow smoke up your ass. I do realize that as we go bigger, that we are going to get more revenue. Sure, yeah. And so for me, that part will figure itself out. But for me, what is so important is that these minorities and these communities that are just repeatedly getting shit on by legacy finance, and as second we make any progress in our space, you have the regulators coming in and be like, this is investor protection. No, it's protection for your fraudulent system that you spent the last 200-300 years building. And now that it's starting to crumble, you're just scrambling to grab it all.
You just got to remember too, and I'll kind of end this topic, this conversation. And by the way, I agree with everything you said about the channel. It's much easier, right? Because when you think about government, right? Every government wants control, right? Whether it's a president, a parliament, whatever the case may be. And it's easier to control people if people are divided. So if they divide us by race, if they divide us by how much money we have, if they divide us by where we live, I think that's part of why they see crypto as a threat, is because crypto is not divisive. It's you want to talk about a buzzword, the word inclusive. You want to talk about an industry that literally does not care how much money you have, what race you are, how old you are, what you believe in. If you're a Democrat or a Republican, it does not care, right? Validators will validate transactions. People will send money to an address. You don't like, if I send someone money, like, I don't know if that address, who that person voted for or what that person does for a living. And I could care less. And so the idea that, because crypto went down 70, 80%, it's harming the minority, or it's harming the people that don't need to be harmed, the people making less than 60K. Well, if you really cared about those people being harmed, you would go to the banks, just like Robin said, and hey, if anyone has under this amount of money in their savings or checking account, they shouldn't be charged an overdraft fee. They shouldn't be charged a checking fee, $12 a month. I know that might not seem like a lot of money to you, but for someone who's literally working paycheck to paycheck, that $12 is 4 or 5 gallons of gas, 2-3 gallons of gas to get back and forth to work. So
my question is, if you go to buy something with PayPal, with a gift card, with crypto, and you don't have enough for the transaction, what happens? They just say transaction denied, right? Mm-hmm. And so why does the transaction go through for money you don't have and then charge you money on top of it? You're already negative. It just seems so logical that if you don't have the money in the bank and you try to buy something, just deny it. I mean, it's not like you're gifting the person money. It's not like, hey, you tried to get a tank of gas and you didn't have enough money, so here's a tank of gas on us. Like, no. What they do is like, okay, cool. Yeah, you try to get it. You squeeze an extra 2 gallons out of there. You went over $8 on your bank account. Now we're going to charge you $20, and now you owe us $28. And then, hey, if you don't pay this back, if you don't get your account back to positive within the next 5 days, we're gonna throw another 20.
So Frosted Flakes said it costs money to maintain an account at the bank. I get it, but they also take our money, invest it, earn 20%, and give us less than a fraction of 1%. So I don't want to hear it that the banks need to make money.
It should be that the banks have their own revenue service. It's the same way that like you get incentivized to keep your money at Coinbase, right? You get incentivized to keep your money at Binance or whatever exchange it is. Yeah. They're vying for your services, and so they'll give you whatever it is return. I know Coinbase does whatever you're holding certain tokens, they'll just pay you back. Not exactly staking, but you do.
No, it is staking. They just do it on chain directly.
Yeah. And so you have that, and in that market. The free market naturally will incentivize users to go to whatever's the cheapest. And if they're making money, they should be splitting it with you in a sense. And if you take my $10,000 I deposit in an account and you go and you earn 4 to 8% interest, like giving me 0.01 is not a fair share, right? That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. So we have Boomer Wednesday today. And first up on the docket, we have the boomer of all boomers, the Buffett boomer. And he was on CNBC, and of course, Bitcoin was brought up.
The idea of this legalized gambling, and it's spreading in the States, and everything that's happening right now, you think that's changing the games? You think there are situations where the spread's not going to be made, and it's because somebody is doing it. They've been paid
Well, I think everybody in the country spent all their time gambling, flipping coins against each other. Somebody would win 20 times in a row, every, million times or something like that. You have 330 million people doing it. You've got 330 people that have called the coin flip correct or something. I mean, the urge to participate in something where it looks like easy money is... It's a human instinct which has been unleashed. It's always there. I mean, when my dad was in Congress in the House office building, I could go to the elevator and yell "Sammy," and the guy would come up to take numbers bets, which were illegal, on the 4th floor of the House office building. It's people love the idea of getting rich quick. I don't blame them, but I've always wanted to get rich slow, and I have a lot of fun along the way. But I'm not immune from it. I've bet on football games. I made one wager at the sports book in Nevada, and I was out there with a couple of friends, and I went up and bet on Nebraska against it. And about 10 people got up behind me and said, "I'll have what he's having." It's got like Meg Ryan in the movie. And so they had a very unbalanced book when they got through that day, and I got 500.
Okay, what is he saying? The gambling, the Bitcoin.
He does make a point. A lot of people are looking to get rich quick. Even if you do have success in the short term by just nailing one investment, it's pretty damn impossible to make that regularity. Now, speaking of regularity, I mean, my man here must be eating a lot of yogurt and
yogurt.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it is. You know what? The reason that crypto is deemed fast money is because it's an emerging sector. And so in the same way that if you got exposure to internet-based companies back in the early 2000s, you would have more gains, obviously, than now as the market has matured. The same thing can be said here with crypto. And so, sure, you shouldn't try to look to get rich quick. I wouldn't expect to turn $1,000 into $100,000 in less than a year. It's not realistic, but that is a lot of people's expectations or a lot of people's desires, and they go and try to chase that fast money. Remember, all you got to do is wait on maybe perhaps a 4-year time horizon to get some real gains. If you look at one cycle to another, usually you get about a 10x out of the major projects. So, Ethereum went from 800 to 5,000. You had Cardano down to less than 5 cents, and it went all the way up to $3. There's just example after example. And so even though we sit here and say, hey, you're not going to get rich, you shouldn't try to get rich quick, maybe not in less than a year, but if you got a time horizon of 4 to 6 years, you're pretty good, man. Just park your damn cash and put your seatbelt on and stop trying to, every time you go to hit that sell button, bite your arm off, bro.
Bite your arm off.
That's right.
Wow.
Like a turkey leg.
Yeah. Speaking of legs, and calves, we have the calf master himself, Rocco. Let's patch. My boy, Frankie Candles. What's going on, brother? How you doing?
Pretty good, guys. How you doing? Happy to be
Good.
on. Thanks for having me on again.
Hey, man, the pleasure is all ours, my friend. Thank you so much for joining us. Frankie, how you been since the last time we talked? Any big trades you've made money on?
I would say, trying to think of the best trade. To be 100% honest, so I am in a long trade that is up a decent bit here. I will say, I was honestly in the recent past, it's been a lot of small wins as we were in that sideways range for. I got to tell you guys, I very rarely will get on my live stream and not have something to say. Like, even if price going sideways for a week, like, I just always have something to say. But that range we were in for like 20 days had me tweaking out, because I was like, it was just such boring price action. And like, really the only trades we were getting in there was, we were shorting and longing those longs and highs like basically the whole time in my premium Discord, just from the bottom to the high, to the low, to the high, to the low, to the high. But which it does make for some really good range trading, which is what I always tell people. But at some point at the end of that range, I was like, you know what, I'm sick of these trades. Like, let's just get a move on here. But I was in a long trade. I'll show you guys when I pull up the chart. I was in a long trade from a bit lower than that range, and then as we were consolidating up in that sideways range, I did wind up adding to my long position for a really specific reason that, if you guys are interested, I can go ahead and show you guys.
For sure, please.
So let me go ahead and pull up my.
And then we'll be in real quick. We'll be in Atlanta Sunday, and then
Frankie's gonna be gone.
You're gonna be gone that whole week.
Yeah, that's right. Dude, I was so bummed out when I heard that, like, you guys are going to be there the whole time. And I'm like, I'm going to be on the cruise the whole time. But I think I may be there. I don't know what you guys are actually going to be doing on Sunday. Obviously, I know you guys would be at the Hit Factory on, during the week. But I should be around on Sunday, because I don't think we leave until Monday morning. So hopefully I'll be able to stop by at some point. We can meet up and say, hey.
Man. Yeah. Hell yeah, brother.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. But yeah, I see Tony D in here. Let's go, Dave Digital.
Yeah, he also dropped 5 Sin City memberships. So gift of 5. So Tony,
nice.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
But yeah, I would love to go ahead and share my chart with you guys. So I'll go ahead and pull that up right now. Whoop. There we go. So basically what I'm looking at here, guys, is, oh God, I wish I knew. So I am actually long from down here, right? So basically the way I trade typically is I basically look at the charts in terms of impulsive moves and ranges, right? So that's basically, because a lot of times, you can look at a chart and it's just up, down, up, down. It's just a big squiggly line to people. And I think it's really, really hard for people to I think that's what confuses a lot of people about the charts. They just look at it. It's an absolute mess. And it is. It could be very overwhelming. So basically what I like to do is, I like just to give you guys an example, like, this is obviously a complete mess, but really what I see here is I see a sideways range locally with lows down here and highs right up here, right? And then you could even break that down lower. We have another little range right here. And then, you know, the more you start to look for these, the more you can kind of spot them. You could even consider that a little range. So that's basically how I approach the market is I look at, you know, big impulsive moves to the upside and then ranges, because that's essentially how the market moves, right? You get imbalance, you get a big move, and then it starts to find balance and you kind of range around a little bit sideways. So essentially, you know, we were, you know, in a bazillion trades up in this price action, but once we got a move here and started consolidating right here, I entered a new swing position because I wasn't a swing long from further back, but I did enter another swing long position right down here. And basically the way I got into that trade was, again, just looking at the market in terms of sideways ranges. So I would just go ahead and I see this range. So I use the fixed range volume profile, and I go ahead and I select the candles that I want to look at, and it pulls a volume-based range here. So these are absolutely pinnacle in my trading style. Again, like really all I do, like what I look for trades in these ranges, and I will look for longs from the lows of the fixed range volume profile, trade them up to the value area high. Oftentimes you will get a deviation, which is great because if you're in a long from down here, it's just really what you're doing is targeting the highs of the range, but then you get a deviation for some extra money. So I did get into a position, I believe, down here. And really all I'm thinking at that moment is let me get into a long, right? And basically that whole trade idea is to go long from the value area low, which is just the lows of this little volume-based range. And then I'm just looking for a little scalp long up to the value area high. I usually take profit just before we hit that level. And I just go for these little scalps, little 3.5% move. I do use leverage, so that is a very profitable move for someone who is using leverage. So I'm basically just looking for this. And then when I get to my profit target, if things are looking good, which they did here with money flow, at least on the 24-minute, this is just the time frame we're looking at, you see money flow is coming up. Maybe you see some other bullish signs. So maybe you only lock in partial profits, and then you will move your stop loss to your break even, or maybe even into profit. And then you're hoping for a potential deviation. And that's essentially what happened to me. So I am long from all the way down here. And kind of the advantage to trading like this is, you know, eventually, if you get that move up, you do actually wind up getting to ride that much, much higher, right? So that is probably that's probably the biggest trade I'm in right now. So I'm basically long from down here.
You're still
basically,
in it?
I am still in that trade. Yes.
Damn, that's looking juicy,
Yeah.
Frankie. What's your exit? What do you have a price that you plan on exiting?
Yeah, for sure. So basically, what I did was when we were starting to range around here, it was very painful to hold that long up here because we didn't know if we were going to reject from this level. So I actually added to the long right on this wick here, I believe. I added on that long, hoping for that breakout. But basically what I'm looking at is I will be locking in profits if we get another move up to that 31.2 level, which is the next major target I'm looking at. And again, just looking at that same thing, your value area low is just another volume range. So we have our low, our point of control, which is basically, you know, a very, I don't want to get too deep into it, but it's basically a very strong, it's where most of the volume is traded. So you typically get strong resistance and support there. Price likes to stick to it, which is what we're getting right now. And then next target to the upside, if we could hold this level, would be that $31,250 mark, which is where I'll probably start locking in a lot more profits. I also am hedged in a short as well. I started building a short down at these levels, and I am going to be continuing to add this as we come up. I will add into that short. Kind of my invalidation point for the short trade would be if we hop on top of this purple box and start decisively breaking that $32,000 level, 32,200. That's where I'm probably just going to stop out of the trade. And, you know, hey, you know, that trade idea was kind of, you know, I'll accept my my epic defeat there, and I'll just take my small loss. But the good point, the good thing there is my long trade will be massively, massively in profit. Right now, my short is down a very, very small bit because it's I start my trades on low leverage, right? So it is a 1x short position, and then I will add, and then once it comes into profit, I'll actually jack up that leverage, which will pull out capital from that trade. So I'm actually risking a lot less of my capital, and it frees up more capital for, you know, whatever else I want to do with that money.
Awesome, man. Thanks for sharing that. Did you, I'm curious, you know, when everything was boring and going sideways, did you have to like dig deep into indicators you've never used before? Or?
Yeah. So, not really indicators, but it is like, you gotta really, what I struggle with is finding things to bring up on the live stream. Like, what are we gonna talk about, guys? Price is still at $28,000. So on those days, I really just or at least in this case, it was a basically 20. It was like, I think we were in this range for like 20 something days.
Yeah.
But yeah, it basically just we're starting to mess around with some new exchanges that offer they offer Forex pairs, so you can long and short Forex stocks, stuff like this. So we kind of made some content about that. But yeah, it just gets super long and drawn out. But really what I do there is I spend a lot of time in the Discord getting those scalp trades just from those local ranges. But yeah, I'm just happy that we got this move. And I'll be honest with you, I was actually, I would have much preferred to get a move down before this move up. But we just didn't get it. But I was just happy to break the range, even though it didn't go the way I wanted it to. I was just happy to break out of that range for sure.
We were talking about it at the beginning of the show, and it seems like there hasn't been a lot of movement outside of these channels once we get into a new one. At least looking at the beginning of the year till now, and so it seems like, hey, you know what? We'll trade at 18,000. We'll hang out there for 3 weeks, a month. We'll trade at 20,000. We'll hang out there for 2 months. Hey, we'll trade at 25,000. Do you think that this trend is going to continue? Do you think we're going to see this sideways chop, this consolidation at, say, 31,000 to 33,000 or wherever this may end up consolidating at? I think the low 30s is probably what I'm thinking. I don't know. I'm thinking this is probably going to see the price of Bitcoin stay here for 2 months, man. I don't know.
And Frankie, can I and I want to add from more of a psychological standpoint, right? What does that say psychologically when traders are trading within a range for 20 days, for 1 month? Is that a positive? Is that a negative? Maybe speak on the psychology of that as well.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm actually really happy you brought that up because I actually do want to bring something up here because when we're in these sideways ranges, let me pull up TradingView real quick. And unfortunately, I really don't want to say this, but I hope we don't get stuck in another range. But I'll kind of show you why I think we may. But let me go ahead and share that screen one more time. Now, again, like I said, I do look at the charts basically almost all the time in terms of ranges, right? So we got, imbalance, then we found balance, ranged around, then we got imbalance, and now we're starting a very local, kind of a hyper local range up by this POC. But you can see right here, this range that we traded in back in May of 2022, that's really where these levels are coming from. And, between the value area high and value area low of these ranges, within those levels is considered the value area, which is basically, you could think of this as a balanced price for Bitcoin. So anytime it comes out of these levels, it's considered oversold. And anytime it comes below the levels, it's considered, when you come below the levels, considered oversold. And then when you come up out of them, it's basically, you can look at it kind of as overbought, right? So, and a lot of times when you revisit these ranges, even if it is, even if it is, let's see how long this is, 339 days away from each other, typically these levels will still get respected. So kind of what I could see happening here, if we don't absolutely fly through these levels, is, we may just kind of stick around in this range and start hanging out here like we did back here in 2022. But speaking of the psychology, I think it's really important because you say, well, what is the psychology when we're in these ranges, right? So this obviously was that big range we were stuck in, and this was the range that we were looking at essentially, right? Just kind of bing-bonging around between the lows and the highs here. But one of the things that was pointing to a breakout to the upside rather than a break to the downside has to do with kind of the psychology of the traders. I don't know if I would call it psychology. Let me just go ahead and I'm going to pull up here. This is coinalyze.net. And basically what this does is you're able to look at a bunch of different metrics that you might not be able to find on other things. Oh, actually, let me go ahead and... I don't know. How do I go ahead and... I'm sharing my actual application, so I don't know... I don't know if I'll be able to bring it up. I don't know how to change the
Here, real quick, I'm just going to give a little love to the chat
Yeah.
while you take a glance at that.
Perfect.
If you're
Perfect.
new here, because I know we got a lot of people from Frankie's channel here, because there's tons of candles. If you're new here, say hello so we can drop an hola back at you. And we have Jelston, Brad, Morton, Tyler, Ivalov, Ed Gee, Jazz, Panda, Marco, Darren, Monacom F, Crypto Baby, Trison, Tony, Julio, 94 Clubs, Jazz, and Armin. To all of you, hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto. Also, we are at a sub 50% like ratio, so do us a favor. Like the video, hit the like button if you like the content, and then drop an hola in the chat. I'd like to see how many holas we can get up in here. I see a lot of candles. Love the candles. We also love the hola. So
Darren does things. I wonder what he does. Frankie, not sure if you're able to figure that out, but if not, we can. You teased us, so you can bring it back.
Oh, I got it. I got it.
All right, cool.
Figured it out. Took a little longer than it probably should have, but we're here. There we go. Boom. So here we are. This is coinalyze.net, and basically this lets you look at other information that you might not be able to find other places, like CVD, which I won't get into, but it also lets you see liquidations. So it lets you see some insight into the market here, right? So you could see like this big move to the upside on that big blue candle or big green candle for a normal person. You can see we had 5 million shorts liquidated in that area. So you get that big liquidation candle, which can obviously be really, really useful information, when you're trading, right? So basically, one of the things that was really screaming out to me that we may get a break to the upside rather than the downside was really looking at the CVD. Now, what this actually shows you is that the futures market, because this is aggregated CVD stablecoin futures, this is showing that all the futures traders were actually shorting, right? When this line is going down, it shows that there's more people shorting than longing. What's interesting about this is, so you can see here, more people are shorting than longing, right? However, we have price was coming to the upside, right? Now, on top of this, like this doesn't really make sense if you're just looking at this. Like if people are shorting, why is the price going up? But if you look at the spot CVD, this shows the aggression of spot buying and selling, and it's the same thing. If this line is trending to the upside, it's showing there's more buyers than sellers. So we could kind of deduce from this information that this price is getting pushed up by the actual spot market, by people actually buying Bitcoin. And this is exactly why I was expecting that break to the upside, because if you have the futures traders continuing to short into this move to the upside as spot is pushing the price up, it's eventually going to squeeze those shorts to the upside and cause a bunch of liquidations, causing a giant move to the upside. And you can see, if you look at your liquidation candles here, 22 million shorts liquidated, 14 million shorts liquidated, and then 43 million shorts liquidated. And that is what they call a short squeeze. So when you're in that sideways range, not only can it be boring, but it can also cause a lot of mixed signals on the indicators. So that's when, like you guys just mentioned, that's kind of, you shift your view beyond the actual indicators and the candlesticks, and you try to see what the actual traders are doing behind the scenes. And that's basically, I shared that with my premium Discord, letting them know, like, guys, that is actually why, this is the reason why I added to my short position up in this range, because I expected at this point that we wouldn't get that move down. So I was like, you know what? Let me just load up on that long a little bit more. And then thank God we got that break to the upside.
People hear that term all the time, short squeeze, short squeeze, short squeeze. And when I first started trading, I didn't know what the hell it meant. And so you just explained it perfectly. That's what a short squeeze. What was, and I'm going to have to hit you up after this, because that was pretty dope, man. I want to start looking at that if you're willing to share with me, of course.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's the website. The great thing about that is that it's 100% free. The tool is 100% free. It's called coinalyze.net. And if you have any questions, hit me up. If we see you on Sunday, I can give you a little run.
My dude, we're gonna see you. We might take you to dinner on Sunday. Who knows? All right, Frankie. So obviously today's is a huge day for Ethereum, right? Before we get into the chart, I want to go over a couple metrics, a couple of articles. And then we'll take a look at what the chart's telling us, what kind of setups we should expect. And so let's start here. So this is from Cointelegraph. Less than 1% of staked ETH estimated to sell after the Shanghai upgrade. This is according to Glassnode. Just 170,000 Ether of the total 18.1 million staked will be unlocked within the first week of the Shanghai hard fork being executed on Ethereum, which is today. The figure comprises 100,000 ETH worth of staking rewards and 70,000 worth of just regular staked Ether, not the rewards. Glassnode backed up its prediction by explaining that only 253 depositors are waiting to exit their stake, and that a few mechanisms are in place to prevent a flood of Ether supply from hitting the market all at once. So I have a couple. So I got this from Glassnode. So this is amount of new value staked, and I want to show a couple things. First thing is the largest amount of ETH staked was 244,000. This was back in November of 2020 when Ethereum's price was at $600. So those people who staked the close to 250,000 Ethereum, not dollars, tokens, 250,000 tokens at $600, they're currently up 3x. So we can assume, right? We can deduce from when they staked and what the price was at, that these are hardcore Ethereum believers. You staked at a time where no one had any inkling of a timeline of when your money was going to be unlocked. Okay, and you're 3x in the green. That's good. Then we have this level here. This was the second highest. This was over 200,000 Ethereum staked at $2,600. So these stakers, these people are currently underwater. And then we had the most recent one on February of this year. We had over 200,000 Ethereum staked at a price of $1,600. So those people are currently in the green. So if we take the three largest ones, you have 200,000 plus 250,000. 450,000 is in the green, and not counting these smaller ones. The only one in the red is going to be this 200,000 ETH that was staked back in March of last year. Now, I have this pulled up as well. This is from Binance Research. So this shows on the left is the price. And then obviously you could tell in green is what's in profit. Yellow's break even. So this needs to be updated. So this is the third largest staking right here at $1,600. That is now currently in the green. So what we saw months ago when ETH was at $1,200 and these charts were being thrown around, they were saying, well, people are underwater. The market's not looking good. People are going to start selling. I want to start with Robin first. With Ethereum being at $1,900 and everything I just talked about, are you expecting a big sell-off, or are you expecting people to sit still and not do anything?
I think you're going to get people taking profits off the table, not exiting their position. I think that, ultimately, if you're in the profit 4x or whatever it is, you're probably going to take, especially if it's been locked up for a year now or more. Why not? Yeah. If you think people aren't going to take profits, you're mistaken. But is that going to be offset by people that are looking to stake their Ethereum without the worry of it not having access to it in the long term? And so I think the two factors will be offsetting. I don't think we're going to get a big price movement in either direction. I think this is bullish for Ethereum's use case, utility, adoption, and people just simply hodling Ethereum long term. So in the bullish case, sure, yeah, I think this is everything you need for Ethereum to be over 2,000, get to 5,000 eventually when the bull market gets back into its stride, and it's what we've wanted from Ethereum. The next upgrades are going to focus on throughput and bringing down transaction costs. They've also been leveraging the scaling solutions and the layer 2s. So in the last bull market where we had, hey, we got gas fees at $200, $500, whatever it is. Those days should be gone in the next bull run. Plus, you got on-chain staking, so you're incentivized to stay in the Ethereum network. Also, tons of dApps. That whole ecosystem is growing. So you're finding less and less reasons to leave Ethereum if you're actively participating in the network, which we know what that means. And not to mention, institutions love it. If you talk to any venture capital, they pretty much don't have any kind of press conference or media discussion without mentioning Ethereum and their positioning and on that and its potential for upside. So bullish on ETH long term. And not to mention, though, I will say there is always a potential for some issues, technically glitches, so just be careful, especially when you're unlocking. And now I think the chances are slim, but hey, you should take into account that there could be some problems that could come out from the Shanghai coming out. So I wouldn't bet the life savings on ETH right now. I'll just leave it at that.
Before I send it to Frankie to look at charts, I wanna highlight one thing. Okay, so not everything is going to be withdrawn at once, right? You have to enter a queue, you have to enter a withdrawal address, and then it goes step by step. Also, there's going to be two types of withdrawals. Partial withdrawals, which are going to be balances in excess of the 32 ETH, which are going to be your staking rewards, are withdrawn to an ETH address and can be spent immediately. The validator will continue to be a part of the beacon chain and validate. And then if you want to do a full withdrawal, which everyone always mentions the highest number, but the highest number is your staking, the 32 ETH that you need to stake plus your staking rewards. The full withdrawals, the validator will exit and stop being a part of the beacon chain. The entire balance, which is the 32 principal plus any rewards, is then unlocked and allowed to be spent after the exit and withdrawal mechanism is complete, which takes, I believe I read, anywhere between 7 and 10 days for you to exit that ecosystem completely. So I guess the next question is, how many people, if we're saying, oh my God, 18 million Ethereum or 3 point some billion dollars, which includes the 32 ETH that people are validating, what percentage of those people are going to want to completely exit the system versus just maybe take some profit on their staking rewards? What is, Frankie, feel free to kind of speak on that. And I would also love to see, what are the charts saying? Is there any structure forming as to maybe hinting are we going to see a sell-off? Are we going to see maybe people are going to, start buying more and staking more? And if we do see a sell-off, what are some levels, if I'm looking to get into ETH, that it should stop at as far as support?
Yeah, great question. And I will just kind of put my 2 cents in there before we pull up the chart. I will say this right off the bat. I will not be, I don't trade based off of anything like this. I don't really trade the news, to be 100% honest. Usually I trade the technicals and then accidentally wind up hitting the news as well. People will be like, oh my God, did you see the news? And I'm like, whatever. I shorted a technical signal, but hey, it lines up. So I won't be trading anything based off of this. However, it's like, they have, what are the two types of withdrawals? I feel like the more difficult they make this, the less people are going to withdraw, right? People are simple creatures. They want ease. People are lazy. So I'll be honest, I don't really expect, that big of a movement here. But it's kind of unpredictable. But I was going to say maybe like it would just kind of break even. Maybe we wouldn't really get much of a move. But what we could do is we could go ahead and we could take a look at the chart and see if the chart is telling us anything that let me swap over to my trading view chart real quick. But yeah, we could go ahead and take a look at the chart and see if it's telling us anything that the news might not tell us. So taking a look at ETH here now, you'll have to forgive me. I don't have the let me see if I have this.
I forgive you, Frankie.
Thank you. So yeah, I don't have any actual TA on here just yet, but I will say, right, pretty simple here. We have our key levels. Now, we have gotten so dangerously close to $2,000. Like, I just find it like, how are we going to get to, we wicked up to about, 1950. How are we not going to hit that 2K level? But, this is going to be a very, very, very key level of resistance right here. So this is basically the major level of resistance I'm looking at. I do think we will eventually get here. But again, if we are going to get a pullback, you were saying, what are some levels that I would be looking at to potentially accumulate some ETH? Or just looking to get in, right? So again, just looking at price in terms of sideways ranges. Now you can see here, this range was originally a little cleaner here with our highs up here and our lows down here. And then finally we broke out of that range. But if we go ahead and extend this, the levels have moved quite a bit. So this value area high would be a key level I would watch coming in at about $1,765. And, if we come down to some lower time frames here, you could see we did have somewhat of a local range here as well. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab that range. I'll just extend it all the way out here, right? So these are kind of the key levels that I would be looking at for ETH. And again, forgive me, I'm kind of coming up with this on the fly here.
This is good.
Yeah, I figure, sometimes I'm always like, oh, God, I got to do this live. But I figure, people can kind of learn here. So,
100%.
we're just looking at this sideways range, and I pulled a local golden pocket, and that gives us some beautiful confluence between this value area low, which I would consider a key level, at least in this local range, and then that golden pocket as well. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draw a box here because that is going to be a range where if we were to get a breakdown a little bit lower down to these levels, this would be a key level I would be looking, obviously assuming that everything looks bullish on the charts still at that point, I would be looking to buy there. But
what are
these
the
are
numbers
the
there,
local
Frankie?
level.
1,700?
Yeah, so this is at between about this level, the top of this blue box is at about 1740, and then the actual bottom of that box is at about 1723. So these are kind of the levels that I would be looking at. Now, immediately, if we do start getting a pullback, say today, tomorrow, this would be the first key level I'd look at, right? Because we've broken out of this range, bullishly retested it, and have come back up. So that would be bullish in my opinion. However, if we do come back down and tap this level, I would expect this to act as support. And if we get bullish confirmations down here, if things are looking good on the charts for me, because I'm a chart guy, so that's really what I look at. If we get some bullish confirmations down here, I would be looking to buy this level. But it is going to be a key level to watch, right? Because we know that if we break below this level, specifically the value area high at about 1840, if we decisively break below this and we can't get back above, I would say the blue box, if we can't get above this blue box, and this level is coming in at about 18, if we can't get back above here, I would expect to come down and visit this blue box. So those are kind of the major levels I would look at. The first immediate level, 1840. If we start losing that level and moving down, the next major level I'd look at is 1740. And then if we take a look at our volume and just see where all the volume is, we can get a better idea of kind of how price will behave at these levels. There we go. Let it update a little bit. So yeah, really, once you start getting down to this blue box, you could see that is really where you start to get your massive spike in volume. So I would expect these levels to get stronger and stronger as we move down. So, if we lose that bottom blue box, I really think, coming down to test these levels at, 1700, between 1700 and 1680 would be some really, 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 really strong support. So, and you do have that 786 fib level right here as well. So you do have some confluence between your fib levels and that volume as well. So, when I'm looking in the macro, it can get confusing, I think, especially for beginners when you're looking at charts. Like, it's just so much noise here, so many levels. But what I like to do is just look at the volume, right? Price loves to hunt out the volume. So if we get a big pullback, this would be likely a very, very strong level, again, between those levels I just mentioned. And just looking at the volume there. And then if we start losing this high volume node, really nothing but air underneath this. If you start really losing 1500, that's where you have this massive gap in volume. And a lot of times price likes to absolutely free fall through these levels, just like you see it absolutely ripped up very quickly. If you come back down and break those levels, you will see a very similar move, quick move to the downside for sure.
Which, what do we do? Right, I talked about this on your show. If that does happen, with this upgrade, we know exactly why, and then we just buy some more. Frankie, now
That's
I know,
right.
I know you mentioned you don't necessarily like watch the news or listen to the news. It kind of maybe falls in line. Well, with something like this upgrade and unlocking of all these tokens, it's been talked about for a couple months now. Does that change how you look at the technicals on the chart? Like when you look at that ETH chart and you're thinking, oh, this looks like a good setup, but there's this big thing happening. Does that change your decision making when it comes to placing trades?
It will. It definitely will. In some aspect, like I wouldn't say I trade the news at all. I mean, typically on like FOMC meetings or, anytime we get kind of, CPI data comes out, anything like that. If I am trading that, I am simply on the low time frames looking for volatility. But again, I'm not I'm not longing or shorting whether I think the numbers are coming out bullish or bearish. What I'm doing is taking advantage of the volatility. So it's like, say, FOMC is tomorrow, right? I'm just saying, say you have big news coming out tomorrow, right? Basically, all I'll do there is say, okay, well, I know this news is going to give us, a decent chance at some real big volatility. So I may just, as that news comes out, I may kind of sit down, focus at the charts. But I will be taking my bullish or bearish setups based off of the charts. I'm really just taking that news into account to, kind of be aware that the volatility will be there.
Amazing, man. And, the reason I asked that question is for anyone watching, charts are it's also psychology. When I started trading, for me, it was, you look at each candle and you see it as a group of people, and people make decisions based on emotion. So when you see big wicks either to the upside or downside, or larger bodies, smaller bodies, it kind of tells a story. And so I think it's important for people to get different perspectives as to, hey, should you wait? If, what are the benefits of waiting when there's a big news event happening, no matter what the technicals say, versus, hey, is it a good time to jump on and maybe catch some of that steam and some of that momentum, whether it's to the upside or downside? So I think that's very important. Frankie, I want to go from the other big news of today, which was CPI numbers coming out. And so I'm not sure how often you look at the DXY. But while I go through this, if you want to have that pulled up, maybe we can take a look at what the Dixie is doing. But I'm going to start here. This is from CNBC. Inflation rises just 0.1% in March and 5% year over year as Fed rate hikes take hold. The Consumer Price Index, also known as the CPI, month over month, 0.1% increase. But year over year, it's now at 5%. But the core CPI flipped the headline CPI. The core came in at 5.6 year over year. And so the core is excluding food and energy. So, and we got to break down a table as well. Energy costs fell and food prices were flat. Used vehicle prices also declined. A 0.6% increase in shelter costs was the smallest gain since November, but still resulted in prices rising 8.2% on an annual basis. This is the breakdown right here, guys. So again, headline 5%. You can see here the declines. We saw a decline in overall energy at 6.4%, 17% from the commodities. Gasoline down 17%. What will the OPEC cut that we just recently saw? What kind of impact will that have?
I'm glad you just to give you a perspective on the price of oil and energy right now, because if core stayed the same, if core pretty much didn't move and CPI went down by 1%, and that takes into account energy, the CPI, the inflation has come down simply because the price of energy has come down. But OPEC is cutting the oil production. So we've seen that the energy in these numbers here is a lagging indicator. And so these are drawn back for over a month ago is when they draw the numbers. So that even takes into account basically 60 days ago. So 60 days ago, you had price of barrel of oil at $66 was the low. It is now at $83. So I'm curious to see where CPI will come in next month and the following month. But at the same time, you did have the all-time high in June. And so that's creeping up pretty quickly as well. So 2 months from now, you have the year over year, where last year you were at 9.1. And so you would expect it to come down just off of that, a year over year number. But hey, energy is going back up again, man.
It is, and it'll be interesting to see. And then you have the core, which is all items less food and energy. That is up to 5.6%. And so we haven't seen the core flip the headline since 2020. So it's been 3 years. What's leading on the what's gone up? New vehicle prices have gone up 6.1%. Used cars and trucks are down 11%. Some other things to note: rent, shelter is up 8.8%. We know that the mortgage rates are going up, but now they've introduced a 40-year mortgage. So now you can buy your home at 30 and die with a mortgage loan. That's great. That's not great. Of course, I'm
great.
Transport. Are you all right over there, my friend? Sorry. was choking over here. Transportation up 13.9%. Airfare up 17.7%. Now, I want to go to the CME, right? What are investors and traders and institutions, what are they expecting at the next FOMC meeting? Well, we're currently sitting at 475 to 500 so 4.75 to 5% terminal interest rate, and only 28% of people think that they're going to pause. 72% of people think we're going to get another 25 to 50 basis point rate hike, or 25 basis points. We did do a poll, so make sure you cast your vote there. But Frankie, and you can speak to this as in depth as you'd like. Do you think, first and foremost, there's this narrative that Bitcoin is starting to decouple from traditional stocks and risk on assets, right? So risk on assets, when interest rates go up and monetary policy starts getting tighter, money bleeds from risk on assets. If the Fed is not done hiking interest rates and they continue to hike, will that have an effect on Bitcoin's price? And do you think inflation is going to spike back up? And what do you think the Fed's going to do?
Yeah. So what we could do here is, for me, what I like to do is, obviously, when stuff like this is going on, it's really, really, really hard to actually predict what happens. I know a lot of times these predictions are typically pretty accurate, but no one can really 100% predict what's going to happen. But what we can do, or at least what I naturally want to do, is we can actually take a look at the DXY, right? Because obviously, for anyone who doesn't know, the DXY basically measures the strength of the US dollar. And I will go ahead and share my screen real quick here. And yeah, that's basically, just naturally, I will come over to the DXY and again, like you guys were just saying, if they, raise interest rates, typically that will be pretty bad for Bitcoin. And but what we could really do is, obviously the DXY does move inverse to Bitcoin. So if the US dollar starts showing a lot of strength and we look like we're going to get a big rip up, we can expect a dump on Bitcoin. But what I am seeing here, now we've been looking at we look at the DXY a lot on my channel, and this is actually not my actual chart. I just kind of did this, but these are basically the key levels that we are looking at. Now, it is funny. I have a lot of people, every time I bring up the DXY, I'll do TA on it, and we'll look for things like bullish divergences, stuff like you would look for on a regular chart. And a lot of people say, hey, you can't have divergences on the DXY. It doesn't work like that. But I will say this. We've made some pretty good calls on the DXY using that TA. So when it stops working, I'll stop using it. But you can see here, right? We got this big move down to this key level, right? And that is a 786 fib level, and it is coming in at about 101.33. And we were anticipating a tap on this level for a big bounce, right? And the reason I bring this up is because it was accompanied by a pretty big bullish divergence on the daily time frame. I don't even know if I would pull it all the way back from here, but you have massively lower lows with our higher lows on our oscillator, which does indicate a move to the upside for whatever you're looking at, right? And then you also had these printing locally. I mean, you had bullish divergences everywhere on the DXY at this level. So we expected this big bounce up, which helped us predict Bitcoin a bit here. So now we have actually gotten a reversal. Obviously, Bitcoin has gotten a big move to the upside. The DXY has come down, and now we are faced with this key level once again. Now, what I am seeing on the charts right now is not tons of bullish divergence at this level, indicating to me that not only is there no real super bullish signs here, but you actually have a red dot printing on your daily time frame, which is a pretty bearish look for the DXY. You also have money flow in the red on your 12-hour, and as I'm just flipping through all these time frames, there's really, money flow coming back into the red on the 4-hour. There's really just nothing looking that bullish about the DXY right now. So that could indicate that Bitcoin is not done with this pump at all. And that doesn't mean that, we're just going to turn around, rip to 100K right now. But this is the key level I'm looking at. And again, it is coming in at 101.34. And I am not seeing super bullish signs that we are going to get a very strong bounce off this level. Now, getting a reaction off this level may be likely, but 2-day red dot printing. This is pretty bearish stuff. Looking at the weekly, the money flow on your weekly is starting to come out. And obviously, when, in the past, past. Anytime you see this happen on a high time frame like the weekly, you can see the last time we were up at these highs, you wind up coming down, money flow crosses over into the red, and you get an absolute dump. Same thing right here. You're peaking out. Money flow is starting to come out, and then eventually you start coming down. Money flow crosses over into the red, big dump to the downside, and now you guys can see money flow is trending to the downside. So, in my opinion, not that any, it doesn't mean that things can't change, but as of right now, the DXY does not look that bullish in my opinion. So, again, we can.
I just want to clarify real quick, Frankie, that in this scenario, when he's talking about it's looking bearish, it's actually a good thing for Bitcoin.
Yeah, I know. I always try to clear that up too, because I'm like, guys, this looks really bearish, and I'm like, bearish for the DXY, bullish for Bitcoin.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that you could try to use that information to try to predict what happens at the if they're going to raise the rates, but that's basically what I look at, and it really does not. I mean, it doesn't take much back testing here to really see. I mean, every time you get a money flow crossover into the red, it is at least ends up. I mean, this was a huge one. Money flow crosses over into the red here. Absolute nuke to the floor. So yeah, it does look like this coming out. I mean, it would make sense too if you're looking at stuff like the 4-year Bitcoin cycle, right? We went through the bear market. Now the DXY is starting to teeter out with money flow. On the flip side, on Bitcoin, you have the weekly money flow cruising to the upside, looking for a crossover into the green. I mean, it does look at this point that the 4-year cycle is probably going to prevail here. In my opinion, again, listen, if we come down and we start absolutely, dumping and things look bearish on the charts, I'm going to flip my sentiment because I'm a trader and I could benefit in either direction. But one thing I will say really quick is just for anybody out there looking for some hopium or some bullish hopium here, I will say, it looks very, very similar. What we have going on right here, let me go ahead and make this a little bigger. What we have going on right here is almost looking identical to what happened in 2019, where we got a massive run up into the local golden pocket. I'll just pull it really quick. You can see from the high of the bull market to the bottom of the bear market, we ran up into this local golden pocket, bringing us within 30% of the 2017 all-time high before getting the March 2020 dump that brought you back down to the lows, gave you a second chance to get into the market. But now we are seeing something very, very similar. We are seeing bottoming structure here with a bullish divergence on the higher time frames. And then you can see from the bull market high, I consider this the bull market high, but from the dead cat bounce is what I consider it, some kind of weird inflated dead cat bounce. But this is the actual all-time high of the market. If you pull it from the high to the absolute bottom or the current bottom of the bear market, who knows if we, go lower here. If we wind up getting price to run up into that same golden pocket retracement, it brings us into that 48 to 50K level. Now, I'm not calling for this tomorrow or the next day, but it actually, people say, wow, this guy's crazy. He's calling for 50K. He's a lunatic. But one thing you want to realize here is in 2019, it was a 350% rally up to that golden pocket. And in our case right now, from the bottom of the bear market to the top of there is only 200%. So it would be even less crazy than what we saw happen. If this were to happen, it would be less crazy than, in my opinion. And it kind of matches up with the diminished returns, right? I wouldn't expect a 350% rally here because of diminished returns, but 200% sounds right on the dollar to me. So, if we start cracking some of these key levels to the upside in the next few months, I would say, again, I don't expect this to happen tomorrow, but, we could start seeing a big run up here for Bitcoin. So yeah, that's just kind of my super moon boy target there.
Awesome, man. Frankie, we had a super chat from Mac Baby. Please ask Frankie why Ben hates Solana so much. It has great fundamentals. Now, I don't necessarily expect you to answer, understand why people think the way they think, but Solana is the third largest gainer over the last 7 days, up 15%. So if you want to answer that question, feel free. But at the very least, can we take a look at what the setup on Solana is? And if you want to share your personal opinion on the project itself, whether you believe in it long term, of course, especially what happened after the FTX meltdown and how Solana was a Sam coin, I'll kind of leave it at that and just,
Yeah, absolutely. Well, to answer the first question to Mac Daddy, was that his name? Or There we go. Shout out to Mac Daddy. To answer his question, I think I don't really know. I don't want to put words in Ben's mouth, so I don't know exactly. Maybe it's the network always being down. It maybe I would have to think it probably has something to do with the fact that it's like a VC coin. Or people call it a VC coin. That probably has something to do with it as well. I don't know 100% for sure exactly why he hates it so much. But I will say this, I just know a lot of people hate it because they consider it the VC coin. In my opinion, I always tell people, listen, I'm in crypto for the decentralization, right? I'm here for the same reason most people are here. However, if I think there's a VC coin that is going to get pumped, I'm going to try to take advantage of that, right? And funny enough, I did try to take advantage of that. I'll go ahead and share the chart here. I did go ahead and try to take advantage of that, and I started DCAing into Solana. Some would say at the absolute worst time. So I was, let's see, let me go to the daily time frame here. I actually DCA'd into Solana, I believe. Yeah, probably, we got big dump, right? I think I started DCAing right about here, thinking, hey, we're pretty low here. I'm going to start dollar cost averaging in. And, if we get another move down, I'll just buy more. And then obviously it was literally the worst time to start accumulating Solana because it was right before it went to literally almost zero. So I will say this. Just as far as the chart looks, I will go ahead and just do some quick analysis here. We do have a green dot on the weekly time frame with money flow coming up, so that would be bullish in my opinion. Here's the thing. I don't think Solana is dead completely. I don't really fall in that camp. I do still hold that Solana that I DCA'd in with, so I am stuck here until that price comes back up. I am not going to sell. Obviously I was way down here, have recovered a bunch of those losses, but I am still down pretty heavy on this. So I will be holding this. I do think in the bull run, listen, in the bull market, maybe it doesn't do what it did last cycle. But, obviously last cycle, it went absolutely insane. Maybe it doesn't do that again. But I'm going to hold on because I do think that we will eventually get at least to my break even point, which will be around, I guess around $30, about $37. So I do think we can get back up there. And listen, with this weekly green dot with money flow coming up, this actually looks pretty good. Money flow coming up on almost all these higher daily time frames. And this actually does look like some bullish price action here as well, because, this is somewhat of a bull pennant here. I would say, it's not the cleanest bull pennant, but, price is coiling up here. And this does look like a breakout to me. And with all these higher, the 5-day looks real good. 4-day money flow coming up, green dot. Same thing on the 3 and the 2-day. So yeah, these higher time frame, this does look like it wants to go, in my opinion. So, one other thing to realize here is once you get above this level here at about $25, back to those low volume gaps, there's not much holding you back here. So once you get above this level, again, at about $25.50, you may fly right through this gap up to that $31 mark, where I may start, maybe pulling some of my money out to put into other stuff at break even, just to kind of hedge my bets there. But I am gonna hold some of that Solana right in the chance that it does come back up, because one thing that people hate these VC coins. One thing to realize is that they sometimes go parabolic. So again, if I think there's a financial opportunity in this, I will take advantage of it. So. That's how I'm feeling about Solana. Again, I don't know if it'll go absolutely parabolic like it did last time, but this does look like in the short term there is some more upside for Solana for sure.
Awesome, man. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, Solana is one of those tokens where I'm in your camp. I'm not sure how much influence Sam and FTX had on the run up to $240. Would that have been possible without what Sam and Alameda was doing? I don't know, but Solana, if they can get their stuff together and they can secure their network and it stops going down and they continue the way they're going, might be one of the, you're looking at a 10 to 20x out of a top 12 project. That's not bad. Frankie?
Yeah, I was definitely much more bullish on it before the whole FTX thing.
Of course.
I was actually, I'll be honest, it was, I did plan on, before all that happened, I was planning on going pretty heavy on Solana this cycle. And I have taken it out of like kind of one of the top coins I was looking to accumulate, because there was a lot of, I was very bullish on it. I'll say that. I was very bullish on it, but after the whole FTX thing happened, I will hold a little bag of it, but I'm definitely not as bullish as I was. But yeah.
For sure. And I want to clarify the difference between trading a token and investing in a token, right? I think you could really care less what's happening and if their network's going down if you're trading a token because you're looking at technicals, but if you're investing in it and holding it, it's a little bit of a different story. Frankie,
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for joining us. Guys, if you want more Frankie candles, I'm assuming all of you in here are subscribed to this channel, but if you're not, we do have a link in the description of this video. Make sure to subscribe to Frankie Candles on YouTube. Also follow Frankie on Twitter. Frankie, before we let you go, is there anything you'd like us to know? Or anything exciting going on, or you're excited to talk about?
Yes. So, well, first off, thank you so much for having me on. I love coming on the show. You guys are awesome. You guys pretty much covered it. Check out my YouTube channel. Check me out on Twitter, Frankie_Candles on all socials. Frankie Candles is the YouTube channel. We go live every day or every weekday at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, except potentially not today. I will say that. I'm excited to meet you guys, hopefully on Sunday, but we are getting ready to go on the BitBoy Crypto Cruise. And I have a lot of stuff that I should have done a few days ago that I haven't done. So I'm like, I got a million things going on. I got to catch up on a bunch of stuff. So yeah, maybe not tonight. I think I might have to wind up canceling, unfortunately, for any of my community here. But not 100% set in stone. But yeah, thank you so much for having me on, guys. And I really hope that I get to meet you guys on Sunday if we can get
What are you looking forward to doing on the cruise? Are you a shuffleboard guy, or are you going to eat clubbing or food? What are you doing? Gambling?
I'm expecting to see a lot of calf pictures popping up on Twitter, as I'm assuming there's going to be a lot of people who will follow you around and just take pictures.
Or you can go straight DJing. They got the casinos on there, slot machines, the tables.
That's right. I will say this. I'm a big cruise. Me and Mrs. Candles absolutely love cruises. They're like our happy place. So we've been on a lot of them, and it's on a lot of cruises. They do like Mr. Sexy leg contests on the pool deck. So I feel like that's gotta happen if they do that.
That's your spot, bro. It's your chance.
Yeah, that's it. That's my time to shine. But really just looking forward to relaxing, man. I was thinking about maybe, just going live on the boat, but cool. I haven't taken any real time off in like a long time. So I might just try to detach, hang out with Mrs. Candles, hang out with Ben and the crew, and just relax and have fun with the community. So
good luck getting a good enough internet signal out in the middle of the Atlantic.
Yeah, right. Might be a blessing.
Nah, you deserve it, man. You're one of the hardest working people in our space. And so we truly enjoy your presence, your knowledge, and having you on, my friend. And we will do everything we can. We're landing around 6:30 p.m. your time on Sunday. So if we can make it happen and meet up with you, man, we'd love to. We'll stay in contact, and we look forward to bringing you on the show again, my friend. Until we meet again.
Absolutely.
Have a great day.
Awesome. You guys too. Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate you guys.
Thanks, Frankie.
All right, have a good one. Okay. All right. Are you a cruise guy?
No.
I get seasick, bro.
Me too. I'm not a cruise guy. I went on 2 cruises, and the first one I lost a lot of money because of gambling.
I've never been on a cruise because every time I get on a boat, I'm like,
yeah, I'm not a.
So I'm like looking at a big ass boat, and I'm like, man, I can't barely last an hour on a boat, much less a week. So yeah, F that. The dude got some new people in the chat. If you're new here, say hello so we can drop an hola back at you. We got Zero Bird, Bullish Sauce, Crypto Redbot, Strawberry God, A-Train, MV, Hanya, Joshua, Crypto Killer Whale, and Dan DGT2. All of you, hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto. Also, XTZ Arsenal.
Yeah. Also, we ended the poll. Will inflation continuing to slow? Oh, sorry. With inflation continuing to slow, will we see a rate hike in May? 68% of you said yes, and only 31% of you said no. And I already know Robin's answer is whatever the CME tells him to say. So 78% of the CME believes we're going to get another 25 basis point rate hike. Now, I want to take a break from the news, and I want to continue our Boomer Wednesday segment. And here we have a clip from none other than Dave Ramsey, and I'm disgusted that we share the same name.
Is this the one where he's hating on?
I got 2 of them.
Okay.
I got 2. So this is back in November of 2022 when Bitcoin was at 17K, saying Bitcoin is dead again. Let's hear.
Why is he wearing a headset? Like, you got a nice studio. Well, you don't need a headset.
He's a boomer, man.
Bitcoin is the Iraqi dinar of the internet. And I know intelligent people who, while they're intelligent, are not wise, that have put a bunch of money in Bitcoin. But it's a really good way to turn $1 million into nothing. To play in unstable currencies that they're, and here's what you have. Let me tell you what Bitcoin is.
Okay.
It's WWW. It's the wild, wild west. You're back to the Western banking system.
Ah.
Because all of a sudden, one of these computer nerds just flips a switch. The whole freaking thing's gone. It has no value. They just got completely ripped off, and it took them down. And so the little hipster techie guys are sitting in front of the building with a sign that says, "Where's my money?" Well, honey, you never had any. It's not real money.
But you have it now.
Ah.
You know,
And I don't like, using the word boomer in a negative light, but when he's attacking us and calling us nerds and computer geeks, yeah, I'm gonna call you a boomer. I'm gonna call you a boomer. Let's finish this
because it's not a stable currency that has any kind of a system that backs it, that has any kind of a system that protects. Well, I've made a lot of money in Bitcoin. You can make a lot of money trading dirt to somebody else trading dirt until people catch on that dirt's not a good idea to trade. You can trade gravel out of your driveway as long as you can get away with it. And so just because you made some money doing it doesn't mean...
It's a little sad. Obviously the guy doesn't understand. And then we have this.
Obviously.
Then we have this. So that was from November. Now Bitcoin is up 86% since then. And then Dave Ramsey, just a short time later, bro, they're boomers.
They get distracted.
it's like they got this thing attached to their face. You can't afford a nicer headset than that, man.
I was glancing over out of my peripheral, and I can sense in your brain something was boiling, right? Was it boiling? What's boiling up?
Well, there's the boomer headset. There's also he said that what did he say? The price is not stable, right? Or
that it's not a stable currency.
Not a stable currency. Well, here is your stable currency. The dollar's purchasing power over the history the last 100 years. So here's the stable. This is stable, guys.
Wow.
This is stable. This is the model of stability here. Yeah.
It's funny, here's my thing.
Here's $1 could have bought you 30 Hershey bars back in, now how much is one Hershey bar now? Like $2, $3? Then you have in 1929, $15 could have bought you 10 rolls of toilet paper, 10 bottles of beer for 20. Yeah. Anyways,
what bothers me? What bothers me is people like Dave Ramsey have millions of listeners, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people who follow his advice. And so I feel like you owe it to those people who, I'm not saying this is the right thing to do, but to those people who blindly follow your advice, if you're going to talk about something, at least understand it and know what it is. Don't go telling people to invest in money market funds if you have no idea how they work. Don't tell people to not invest in gold if you have no idea how it works. Don't go shitting on Bitcoin and telling people they're stupid for investing in it if you obviously, without a shadow of a doubt, have zero clue as to what Bitcoin is, what backs Bitcoin, and where it derives its value from. You make statements like one computer nerd can flip a switch and it's all gone. The guy has no baseline understanding of blockchain, of crypto, what it is, how it works, and he's out here preaching to millions of people who blindly follow this man's advice. You owe it to those people. If you're gonna talk about it, at least understand it. Is that too much to ask?
I will say that as part of Boomer Wednesday, as you called it, created a show without telling your partner.
What else we got, Rob?
I do have my own Boomer video to show as well.
Okay.
But this is actually in positive, but not all boomers can be wise.
Okay.
And so there are.
I'm open.
There are, some people out there with experience and speak in a knowledgeable light. And sometimes we forget the importance of open free market. We forget the importance of international commerce. And a lot of that is being tested right now. We're starting to see the trade wars between the US and China. We're starting to see the division between the European Union and Russia, also with China as well. We're starting to see other people come off of the dollar, and people starting to take sides when it comes to trading. This is an integral part of our everyday system and something we see more of in crypto every day. And so without further ado, let's take a look at this one. So
look at this lead pencil.
Sound? I got sound, Rocco?
Look at this lead pencil.
Okay, here we go.
Who is this, by the way, Rob?
Look at this lead pencil.
I'll show you.
There's not a single person in the world who could make this pencil. Remarkable statement? Not at all. The wood from which it's made, for all I know, comes from a tree that was cut down in the state of Washington. To cut down that tree, it took a saw. To make the saw, it took steel. To make the steel, it took iron ore. This black center, we call it lead, but it's really graphite, compressed graphite. I'm not sure where it comes from, but I think it comes from some mines in South America. This red top up here, the eraser, bit of rubber, probably comes from Malaya, where the rubber tree isn't even native. It was imported from South America by some businessmen with the help of the British government. This brass ferrule, I haven't the slightest idea where it came from, or the yellow paint, or the paint that made the black lines, or the glue that holds it together. Literally thousands of people cooperated to make this pencil. People who don't speak the same language, who practice different religions, who might hate one another if they ever met. When you go down to the store and buy this pencil, you are in effect trading a few minutes of your time for a few seconds of the time of all those thousands of people. What brought them together and induced them to cooperate to make this pencil? There was no commissar sending out orders from some central office. It was a magic of the price system, the impersonal operation of prices that brought them together and got them to cooperate to make this pencil so that you could have it for a trifling sum. That is why the operation of the free market is so essential, not only to promote productive efficiency, but even more, to foster harmony and peace among the peoples of the world.
There we go. So that is
Milton Friedman.
Yeah. There you go. Pretty good. Just kind of shows you the importance of free market and trade. And, you know, think about just something as simple as a pencil, as he put in his example. If there is countries at war, or if trade is disrupted, or if there's people arguing over that as well. So,
Doing over there, Rocco?
I want to show you the largest ingot of gold ever made. It's in a museum in Japan.
Okay.
It's 250 kilograms.
250,000 grams. Oh, 250 kilograms.
Yes. So it's and it was made by Mitsubishi. It's
How much is that? What's the math on that? How much is that worth?
Now, when they made it, it was about $6 million, I think, if I remember right. And then now it's worth about $17, $18 million, something like that.
Yeah, try to cross borders with that. See if that works out for you.
That's massive. That thing
That
is massive. So 250 kilos is a lot.
It's 250,000 grams.
Yeah.
250 kilos. That's over 1,000 pounds.
It's I think it's about 8,000 pounds, something like that. If I remember.
2.2 kilos is 1 pound.
Yeah. No, yeah.
No, 2.2 pounds is 1 kilo.
Yes, that's what I meant.
Okay.
Okay. What else?
I think I want to talk about two more things. So we got some bad news for Tron. Their TRX token dropped 6% as Binance.US delists Tron. Tron's token has been delisted on Binance.US. This comes weeks after the SEC sued Justin Sun over allegations of selling and airdropping unregistered securities, fraud, and market manipulation involving the TRX token. This is a quote from Binance.us. Well, first, the trading will stop on April 18th. Here's what they said. Binance said, we operate in a rapidly evolving industry, and our digital asset monitoring process is designed to be responsive to market and regulatory developments. When a digital asset no longer meets our high standards, our industry circumstances change. We conduct a more in-depth review of the affected asset and assess whether further action is necessary. Is there something coming down the pipeline here, or do you think Binance is just being, they're just being more risk avert, I guess you can say, or are they kind of looking ahead here? What's going on here?
Well,
First and foremost, Justin's son. You on a scale of 1 to 10, how much you trust him? 10, you trust him a lot. 1, you don't trust him. I'm at a 2.
Yeah, I'm about right there also. The thing is this is just Binance.us, and Binance versus the US has been an ongoing battle here.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think they're just trying to limit their exposure to litigation and regulatory threats coming from the US, and Tron is probably high up on the list of potential targets for the US. And so Binance.us is probably just exiting for that reason, right?
But I would assume.
Yeah. I don't know. I wouldn't put too much into it. I do got a couple new people. John D, Greg P, Austin P. Hola! Welcome. Sin City Credit.
I think Binance, I mean, this kind of makes sense to me, at least. You have the lawsuit from the US against Justin Sun, and so I feel like Binance already has enough heat on themselves, and I think they're just looking ahead and saying, hey, we're in compliance. I think they're trying to kind of slowly build up a case for themselves. They do find themselves in court, saying, hey, look, as soon as this lawsuit was filed, we delisted the Tron token. We're trying to stay in compliance. Smart move, in my opinion. I know Tron's one of the bigger cryptocurrencies out there, but with everything going on in the US right now, if you want to have a footprint in the US, which I feel like a lot of companies are starting to move away from that, you're going to want to make sure you stay on their good side. That's it.
Yeah, you sure?
That's it, bro.
I had an Avalanche article I want to talk about, but we'll talk about that tomorrow.
Right.
We do. Our next video will be on Avalanche and how they're taking over. They're the chosen one when it comes to business. Not Algorand, not HBAR. Seems to be Avalanche, and we got that broken down. That video is coming out soon. Speaking of, no idea where I was trying to segue that, but go check out our merch store at inandoutcrypto.com. You'll find Sin City merch and just regular merch. Also, go follow us on Twitters, Instagram, TikTok. Where else are we at, Rocco? Discord? Join our Discord.
We're also in Las Vegas.
Yes, we are in Las Vegas.
There you go.
Anything else you guys want to add before I tornado this thing out of here?
That's it.
Rocco! Friends, family, and family of friends, we thank you so much tuning in on Hump Day here at Sin City Crypto. Big shout out to our friend and family member, Frankie. Consider him part of the Sin City family. Big shout out to Frankie. Go support the guests that join our show. Go subscribe to Frankie Candles on YouTube. Check the link in the description of this video. On behalf of myself, Robin, and Rocco, we love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow, same time. Until then, mucho take it easy. Also, I want to give a huge shout out to Jimmy. Jimmy gifted another 10 memberships. I saw on there 700 gifted memberships from Jimmy. the dude, I don't know how many times I can say this, Jimmy, we appreciate all your support, my friend. We love you. Thank you so much. To all of you that are new members, go check out the members-only videos. Until then.